They told you it's over. They told you you've lost. They told you that what you had will never return. And for a moment, maybe you believed them. For a moment, you looked at the pieces of your life scattered on the ground, and you wondered if you had the strength to pick them up again. But deep inside, there's a voice that refuses to die. A whisper that says, no, this is not the end. Because the truth is, every downfall you've experienced was not meant to bury you. It was meant to plant you. And when you're planted, you don't die. You grow. You rise. You bloom again. Every setback plants the seed for a comeback, but in the moment of pain, it rarely feels that way. When life knocks you down, it's easy to mistake the fall for the end. You look around and all you can see is what's been taken from you, the opportunities lost, the trust broken, the dreams shattered. You feel buried, crushed under the weight of disappointment, and you wonder how you'll ever breathe again. But what feels like a burial is often a planting. Just like a seed must be covered in darkness before it can sprout, your lowest moments can be the very ground in which your greatest growth takes root. The soil of struggle is rich with lessons you can't learn any other way, lessons about patience, resilience, and the untapped strength you carry inside. In nature, nothing blooms all year round. There are seasons where the branches look lifeless, where nothing seems to move, where the cold and silence stretch longer than you think you can bear. But beneath the surface, there's unseen work happening. Roots are digging deeper, the foundation is being fortified, and life is quietly preparing for its return. Your setbacks work the same way. They strip away the noise, slow you down, and force you to look inward. They remove distractions so you can rebuild with intention. They give you the chance to redefine who you are and what you want without the pressure to perform for the world's applause. The greatest comebacks in history have been born from the harshest setbacks. Athletes sidelined by injury come back stronger because they've learned discipline in the waiting. Entrepreneurs who lose everything build again with sharper instincts and wiser decisions. People who've been betrayed rise with clearer boundaries and a deeper understanding of their worth. The comeback isn't just about regaining what you lost. It's about returning as someone wiser, stronger, and more prepared than you ever were before. You may have been knocked off course, but in that detour, you're finding a path you would have never discovered otherwise. The pain you're feeling right now is not permanent. It's a signal that change is happening. Growth is uncomfortable, and transformation often requires the tearing down of what once was. Think about a seed again. It must break apart before it can grow. That breaking is necessary because without it, nothing new can emerge. Your setbacks are breaking away the parts of you that can't come with you into your next chapter. The fears, the doubts, the habits, the people, the environments that kept you small. You're being stripped down so you can rise without unnecessary weight holding you back. When you start to see your setbacks as a play planting rather than a burial, everything shifts. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? You begin to understand that nothing in life is wasted. Not the tears, not the failures, not the moments of isolation. Every one of them is watering the soil you're standing in. You may not see the sprout yet, but it's coming. And when it does, you'll realize that the comeback was already in motion the moment you hit the ground. Do you want me to now explain key point 2 in the same deep 600-word style? That way we keep the tone consistent. Stop seeking validation from others, because the moment your worth depends on someone else's opinion, you give away the keys to your happiness. Too often, we measure ourselves by how loudly people clap for us, by how quickly they respond, by how much they notice our efforts. We let their approval dictate whether we feel proud or ashamed, worthy or forgotten. But living for validation is like chasing a mirage. You can run for miles, exhaust yourself completely, and still end up with nothing in your hands. The truth is, no matter how much you give, there will always be someone who thinks it's not enough. No matter how much you try, there will be people who remain unimpressed. And if you're constantly bending yourself into shapes that fit other people's expectations, you'll eventually lose sight of who you really are. Validation is tempting because it feels good in the moment. It's a quick hit of reassurance, a temporary high that says, you're doing okay. But just like any quick fix, it fades fast, leaving you hungry for the next dose. This cycle keeps you dependent, unable to feel confident unless someone else tells you that you should. It turns your life into a performance where you're always on stage, always looking over your shoulder to see if the audience is smiling. And the moment they're not, you crumble. That's no way to live. Your worth can't be on trial in a court where the jury changes every day. When you stop seeking validation from others, you reclaim your power. You begin to realize that the only approval you need is your own, because you're the one living your life, walking your path, carrying your burdens. No one else has lived your exact story. No one else knows the nights you stayed awake fighting battles in your mind. No one else has felt the exact combination of hopes, fears, and dreams that make you who you are. How could they possibly be the judge of your worth when they haven't walked in your shoes? You also begin to understand that the people whose opinions you chase are often too distracted, too wrapped up in their own lives to truly see you. You're waiting for validation from people who are themselves looking for validation from others. It's an endless loop where no one feels secure because everyone is waiting for someone else to say they matter. Breaking free from that loop is one of the most liberating things you'll ever do. It's not about ignoring feedback or becoming arrogant. It's about knowing that your identity isn't up for public vote. It's about setting your own standards for success, your own measures for progress, your own definition of happiness. When you meet those standards, you feel proud, regardless of whether anyone else notices. That pride is unshakable because it's rooted in self-respect, not in external applause. There's a quiet strength that comes from this shift. You walk into rooms differently. You no longer shrink when people overlook you because their attention isn't your fuel anymore. You no longer overextend yourself trying to earn someone's appreciation because you already appreciate yourself. You stop apologizing for taking up space, for having dreams, for speaking your truth. You realize that you're not here to impress, you're here to live, and living authentically is the most impressive thing you can do. When you stop needing people to tell you you're enough, you finally become free to be exactly who you are. And in that freedom, you find a confidence no compliment could ever give you. Direct your energy inward because the most powerful transformation you can ever experience begins from within. Too often, we scatter our strength in 1,000 directions, helping everyone else solve their problems, chasing after every demand, giving away our time, attention, and emotional energy until there's nothing left for ourselves. We become experts at being there for others but strangers to our own needs. And then we wonder why we feel drained, unfocused, and lost. The truth is, you can't rise, rebuild, or create a better future if your energy is constantly being poured into places that don't refill you. When you start directing your energy inward, you begin to see yourself as a priority rather than an afterthought. It means choosing to invest in your own growth instead of waiting for life to hand you strength. It means making deliberate choices to feed your mind with knowledge, your heart with peace, your body with care, and your spirit with purpose. This isn't selfish, it's necessary. Because the version of you that thrives, that leads, that inspires others can only exist if you first nurture that person from the inside out. Focusing on your mind is one of the first steps in this inward journey. Every thought you entertain shapes the way you see yourself and the world around you. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, no amount of external motivation will sustain you. But if you train your mind to speak in courage, possibility, and determination, you become unstoppable. Reading, learning, reflecting, and surrounding yourself with positive influences aren't luxuries, they're investments in the mental strength you'll need to face challenges head on. Your heart also needs your energy. This means learning to protect your emotional space, to be intentional about the people you let close, and to stop giving pieces of yourself to those who only take without giving back. Every connection you have either fuels you or drains you, and the more you pour into relationships that uplift you, the lighter and freer you'll feel. It also means forgiving yourself for past mistakes, because carrying guilt and regret only robs you of the emotional strength you need for the present. Your body is another place where inward energy matters deeply. It's easy to overlook physical health when you're busy, stressed, or distracted, but neglecting your body slowly erodes your ability to show up fully in life. Moving your body, eating in a way that supports your well-being, and giving yourself proper rest aren't just acts of self-care, they're the foundation that allows you to keep going when life gets hard. Without physical strength, even the strongest mindset will struggle to carry you forward. And then there's your spirit, the part of you that isn't defined by titles, possessions, or other people's opinions. This is the part that gives you direction when everything else feels uncertain. Whether you find that connection through faith, meditation, solitude, or simply spending time in nature, tending to your spirit anchors you in something deeper than the chaos of everyday life. It reminds you that you are more than your circumstances and that there's a purpose to the season you're in. Directing your energy inward is not about ignoring the world. It's about preparing yourself to engage with it in the most powerful way possible. When you are mentally sharp, emotionally grounded, physically capable, and spiritually anchored, you don't just survive challenges, you rise through them. You stop being tossed around by every storm because you've built strength at the core. And from that place of inner power, everything you do on the outside becomes stronger, more intentional, and more effective. Protect your boundaries because they are the invisible lines that guard your peace, your energy, and your growth. Without them, you become an open door for anyone to walk through, bringing their demands, their chaos, and their expectations into your life without considering what it costs you. Boundaries are not walls meant to isolate you from the world. They are gates that decide what you will and will not allow into your personal space. When you lack them, you begin to live according to other people's rules instead of your own. You say yes when you mean no, you carry burdens that aren't yours to carry, and you shrink yourself to fit the comfort of others. Over time, this erodes your confidence, your energy, and even your sense of identity. Protecting your boundaries starts with knowing your worth. When you understand that your time, energy, and presence have value, you stop giving them away carelessly. You begin to recognize when someone's requests cross the line between healthy connection and unhealthy demand. This awareness allows you to say no without guilt, because you realize that every yes to someone else is also a no to yourself if it takes away from your well-being. Boundaries are not about being cold or distant. They are about being intentional with your life so you can give your best without burning out. One of the hardest parts of protecting your boundaries is accepting that not everyone will like them. Some people will push back when they realize they can no longer access you in the ways they used to. They may accuse you of being selfish or distant, but often that reaction says more about their dependence on your energy than it does about you. People who truly care for you will respect your boundaries because they understand that a healthier you means a stronger relationship. The ones who resist are often the ones who benefited from your lack of limits. Boundaries also protect you from toxic environments. Whether it's a workplace that drains your spirit, a friendship that's built on one-sided effort, or a relationship that constantly undermines your worth, learning to step back is a form of self-respect. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself not to stay in places that diminish you. You can love people from a distance, wish them well, and still choose not to let them into the space where your energy and focus are being rebuilt. It's important to remember that boundaries are not only for others, they are also for yourself. Sometimes you are the one crossing your own limits, saying yes to things that exhaust you, or staying in situations that hurt you because you're afraid of change. Self-boundaries might look like limiting how much time you spend on social media, holding yourself accountable to rest when you need it, or committing to goals without letting distractions pull you away. These are the boundaries that help you stay aligned with your purpose and prevent you from sabotaging your own progress. Protecting your boundaries is an act of both discipline and love. It requires clarity about who you are, what you value, and what you will tolerate. It means deciding that your mental health is more important than pleasing everyone, that your peace is more valuable than avoiding temporary conflict, and that your growth matters more than someone else's comfort. And as you strengthen these boundaries, you'll find that life becomes calmer, your relationships become healthier, and your energy is no longer scattered on people and situations that don't serve your future. Embrace the quiet rebuilding season because it is in this space of stillness and seeming invisibility that the most important transformation happens. We live in a world that glorifies speed, noise, and constant visibility, where it feels like you're falling behind if you're not announcing your every move or showing constant progress. But real change often happens in the hidden moments when no one is watching and no one is applauding. This season can feel lonely and frustrating because you might think nothing is happening, yet beneath the surface, your foundation is being rebuilt. Just like a seed must spend time in the dark soil before it can break through to the light, your dreams and growth need time to develop unseen before they can thrive in the open. The quiet season strips away the distractions and forces you to face yourself. Without the noise of external validation, you begin to understand what truly matters to you. You notice the patterns that held you back, the relationships that drained you, and the habits that no longer serve the person you're becoming. In this time, you have the opportunity to make changes at the root level, to correct what's broken, and to set yourself up for a stronger future. This process can be uncomfortable because it demands patience, and patience is difficult when you want results immediately. But the deeper the roots grow, the stronger the tree will stand when storms come. During this season, it's tempting to look around and compare your progress to others. You'll see people posting their wins, reaching milestones, and moving fast while you feel like you're standing still. But what you don't see are their seasons of silence, the times they had to retreat and rebuild. Everyone has moments when life requires them to step back, even if they don't share it publicly. If you keep comparing your quiet rebuilding to someone else's highlight reel, you'll miss the opportunity to focus fully on the work that matters. This is also the season to gather strength without the pressure to perform. You can experiment, learn, and fail privately without the world's judgment. You can take risks that stretch your abilities without fear of embarrassment. You can heal from past wounds without rushing the process just to prove you're okay. Healing, growth, and reinvention are not things you can force. They need time to unfold naturally. The quiet season gives you that time, even though it may not feel glamorous or exciting. One of the most powerful aspects of the quiet rebuilding season is that it teaches you self-reliance. Without the noise of constant advice or external opinions, you learn to trust your own voice again. You rediscover your instincts and your ability to make decisions that align with your values. You begin to see that your strength doesn't come from being in the spotlight, but from being steady when no one is paying attention. That steadiness will carry you forward when life tests you again. Embracing this season also means accepting that you won't have all the answers right away. You might not see the full picture of where you're headed, but you trust that the steps you're taking are preparing you for something greater. This trust keeps you moving forward, even when progress feels slow. And when the time is right, the work you've been doing in silence will speak for itself, louder than any announcement you could make. The quiet season is not a pause in your life. It's the construction phase, building the strength, clarity, and resilience that will make your next chapter your strongest yet. Rise through self-reliance because the most unshakable strength is built when you learn to lift yourself without depending on anyone else to do it for you. It's natural to want support, to hope someone will come along and rescue you when life knocks you down, but the reality is that no one can fight your battles the way you can. People can encourage you, guide you, and walk beside you, but at the end of the day, the decision to stand back up belongs to you. When you stop waiting for someone else to save you, you take back control of your life and begin to write your own comeback story. Self-reliance doesn't mean shutting everyone out or refusing help. It means building the inner strength and confidence to move forward regardless of who is or isn't in your corner. It's the understanding that your ability to rise should never be at the mercy of another person's approval, presence, or permission. When you depend entirely on others for your progress, you put your future in fragile hands. But when you build your own resilience, you create a foundation that can withstand disappointment, abandonment, and unexpected change. Learning to rise through self-reliance requires trust in yourself, and trust is built through action. Every time you face a challenge head on without waiting for someone else to lead the way, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Each small victory strengthens your belief in your ability to survive and adapt. Over time, this belief becomes a quiet confidence that no setback can completely erase. Even when life throws you into situations you've never faced before, you know you can figure it out because you've done it before. Part of self-reliance is taking responsibility for your choices, your actions, and your results. It's easy to blame circumstances, timing, or other people when things go wrong, but that mindset keeps you powerless. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything. It means recognizing that you have the ability to respond differently, to choose new paths, and to create change. This shift from helplessness to ownership is the turning point where rising becomes inevitable. Self-reliance also means developing the skills and mindset that will carry you forward no matter what life throws at you. This could be emotional resilience so you can navigate loss without falling apart, financial independence so you can make decisions without fear of instability, or mental discipline so you can stay focused in the midst of distraction. These abilities don't appear overnight. They're built through consistent effort, learning, and self-discipline. And once you have them, they become tools you can rely on for the rest of your life. Another truth about self-reliance is that it frees you from the trap of waiting for perfect conditions. If you're always waiting for the right time, the right people, or the right resources, you'll spend your life in limbo. But when you know how to move forward with what you have, you stop hesitating and start creating momentum. You no longer see obstacles as signals to quit, but as challenges to adapt around. This mindset not only helps you rise once, it ensures you can rise again and again, no matter how many times you fall. Rising through self-reliance is not about isolation. It's about empowerment. It's about knowing that even if everyone else walks away, you won't give up on yourself. It's about standing on your own 2 feet with the certainty that you have what it takes to rebuild, to recover, and to reclaim your life. And when you finally rise from the ground, you do it with a strength that can't be taken from you because it was forged from within.